Hey guys, Peter, HVAC Greatness. Welcome to the podcast. For those of you who have been following this channel for any length of time, you know that I do not share much of my personal life. But today I'm going to make an exception because I think it makes a really valid point. So I found myself, this is 10 days ago, sitting in the emergency room. I'm in the emergency room, hooked up to the blood pressure machine, and they just checked my blood pressure after giving me an oral medication to drop it and another one through my veins to drop it. And it was down to 212 over 110. Now that is stroke and heart attack, heavy consequence levels. And when I got there, it was actually higher. It was 225 over 120. So how did this happen? I'm talking to the doctor, asking what I did, and he said, oh no, this wasn't sudden. This has been building for a very long time. Fast forward 10 days, I got the lab results back. I've reviewed everything, and Pete has not been doing what he needed to do to stay healthy. Too much desk time, too much fun time, not enough self-discipline, all of the things that I know. Have you ever done something and paid the consequences and you knew better, but you did it anyway? Have you ever neglected yourself in not doing something and it came back to bite you later? Well, this is one of the areas where it's really important. It's just as important in business. I was talking to a prospective client who called me for some help. We had the same conversation. He knew what to do, but he wasn't doing it. And that is level 2 of knowledge. Now, most of us come in at level 1. This one's the dangerous one. You don't know what you don't know. In other words, there's something out there that you don't realize. Everybody can see it but you. You know that guy back when you were single or young or in school that was trying to talk to the girls, and you could see in their body language that it was turning them off? But for some reason, he just couldn't see it and adjust, and he just kept trying harder. Okay, so all of us carry some of that with us, especially when we go into business. The question is, what is it that you don't know that you don't know? And this is why it's helpful to have peer groups. It's helpful to have training. It's helpful to get guidance, coaching, a mentor, whatever that looks like for you. Because people will start to point out things that you didn't realize. But let's come back to what I knew. I'm going to suggest that on one level, just because you know, you don't really know in the biblical sense, if that makes sense. So knowing something is one thing, but when you know it because you've actually embodied it, now you know it. And Pete knew it. Here's a video clip of me at the beach. My wife took this before we got married. So we've only been married a while, but this was pre-COVID, probably, I don't know, about 18 months before COVID hit. Pete knows. I mean, I've been an athlete my whole life. I used to could do that one dunk that Michael Jordan made famous with the circling arc. I could do that. And I'm only 6'5". I mean, I say only 6'5". It's not like I'm 6'7" or 6'8". But I've been an athlete my whole life. I know how to take care of myself. So what happened? What happens when you stop doing what you know you need to do? Well, life teaches you the lesson you need to learn. There's a saying that life will continue to teach you the same lesson until you learn it. So if you're having the same problem over and over, it's because you haven't adjusted. Now, there was a book, and I'm going to look here. It was by Malcolm Gladwell. It was called Outliers. And he came up with a concept of it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill. So a lot of times we think we know something because we tried it, but really, did you try it enough? Did you try it enough to master it? I mean, if you think about it, if it takes 10,000 hours and you try it a few times and think, well, I know that. Do you really know that? Because there's a lot of nuances to interacting with people, especially social dynamics and you're talking to your customers and interacting with them. So maybe you know, but do you truly know? And I will say this, if you truly know something and you've internalized it and you've made it part of your practice, it becomes part of your identity. This is who I am. I mean, when I look back at my physical condition, I thought that's who I was, and it was who I was until I fell out of habit during COVID, and the rest of the story you can kind of summarize. What is it that you knew but you don't know anymore? And what's missing in your business? And what is it that you know and do, but yet you send an employee out and they know, but they don't really do? This is why processes are so critical to your business. That airline pilot knows everything he needs to check pre-flight before taking off. But he has a checklist, and every box gets checked before they put that flight into operation or that airplane into flight. Why? He knows, but he knows how critical it is, and so he's not going to miss a single step. And so if every step matters, then you need to make sure that every step is taken, and every step is taken consistently. And if it's not you, it needs to be your employee. And if you don't follow the checklist, but you expect your customers to, good luck on getting them to buy in, because that's very important. So let's go to level 3. Knowing when to bring in help. As a business owner, as a person with who needs to improve his health, we need to know when, okay, I need somebody who can see my blind spots and help me through this. Okay, I've taken the action, and in 10 days, my last blood pressure was down to 118/83. The lower number is still high because that takes a little bit longer, but my body's responding. I'm eating well, right? So I've made that adjustment. What about you? Are you still doing the same things and it just doesn't work for you? And while somehow mysteriously somebody else does it and it works for them, why is that? This is why you need to bring in help at some point. So I'm following somebody else's program that they wrote, and they're experts, and there were some blind spots in there. I knew because I'd lived it. But now in my 60s, there's some things I didn't know. Get it? So what about your business? What is it that you assume that perhaps there's more to it? I've been talking about this in terms of setting your company apart as opposed to just standing out. The industry does not know this. You will not find this on ChatGPT. I use AI every day. I hope you do too, because it's really helpful. AI will take you in a direction of accepted information that's out there, but it will not take you through personal experience because it has none. And when I'm creating my processes and systems and programs, and I try to get ChatGPT to help me out or Claude to help me out, it tries to take things in this standard direction, and we're trying to grow, we're trying to evolve, we're trying to be leaders in this market. We don't do what has always been done, is now petering out. We are entrepreneurs who step in and do stuff different, do stuff at a higher level, and experience is what indicates this for us so that we can evolve. So setting yourself apart means that you're no longer, in the customer's mind, in the same category with every other company out there. There's all these other heating and air companies out there, but then there's you. They can call anybody and get heating and air, but they can only call you if they want that thing that only you are known for, because you have reverse engineered your reputation in the market in a strategic way where you've considered all of the possibilities and you chose the best one. That's what identity branding is. And it's not about your wrap, and it's not about your website. Branding is an internalization process. It's in your sales process. It's in the way you run a service call. It's in your books. That price sheet that you use, it's crap. Visually speaking, it does not have the impact that you think it does. We have to engineer these things using the human psychology in mind and bringing all this information that's been out there all these years and bringing it into our industry and understand that we're dealing with human beings. That we can't just speak to them logically and expect them to get it subconsciously. We have to communicate to the subconscious as well. Stop blending in and start standing out. And once it kicks in, and once you know that you don't know and you realize, get some help and learn to set yourself apart. My lesson for the day. I hope this made sense for you. Whatever your circumstances are, this is one of those universal truths. We're always evolving. Information is more abundant than ever, but so is a lot of crappy information. And AI is now producing all this how-to stuff. Forget how-to. Don't forget it. Don't focus on how-to. Focus on why-to. If you understand why you're doing something, and you understand your ideal customers and how they think, how they process, and what it is that we're trying to satisfy emotionally. Why are we doing this? Then all of a sudden your strategy shifts and it feels more customized. It feels more personal, and people respond to that, especially when they can identify with it personally. This one was a little brief. I wanted to share that with you. Pete's okay. In fact, all the lab results came back, and there's nothing that can't be turned around. So my wife's got me eating what I have to eat, and I'm exercising. But hopefully one day I'll be showing another video where I look back like I did just a few short years ago and can get rid of this extra baggage. Hopefully you can too, in your health, in your relationships, in your business, in your finances. All of these different categories, spiritually speaking, is a huge one. You need balance. If they were spokes on a wheel, on a scale of 1 to 10, and you've got a 6 here and a 5 here and an 8 here and a 10 there, how smooth would your ride be going down the road? Blum, blum, blum. Or nice and smooth. So work on your weak spots. Pete Ramsey here, HVAC Greatness. Don't just stand out. Set yourself apart.